What's up, my party? Well, the alleged party is that the basketball wives may never have existed, never have started if it wasn't for Royce Reeve, who is no longer on the show. And the person who took the credits for all the production and has since been looked at as the executive producer, the star of the show, is Shaunie O'Neal, who was married to the basketball star Shaquille O'Neal. And the gag is Carlos King brought light to this. Shout out to Carlos King. I love his unbiased attitude. He just really for the people. A lot of you may be like, who's Carlos King? Well, he originally started off on Love and Marriage Huntsville. That's where I first got introduced to him, which is a show where actual married people who are in a relationship were presented across the national TV in a positive light, because these people were business people from Alabama, and that's hardly seen or heard of in the Black community. And a lot of times you see basketball wives, basketball this, or just shows, people claim to be wives, people claim to be in relationships, but they're actually just doing it for TV. But this actually highlighted people who were actually in a relationship, kind of like Married to Medicine. Those people were actually married, and doctors and lawyers and rich people, rich Black people. So I love that, seeing that. And on top of that, you also see that these people, despite having all this money, they still can have a little ratchet in it. You can maybe up your money, but the ratchetness still lives inside of you somewhere if somebody brings it out. So don't get it twisted. And I love that for us, because you still can make money and still have a personality, in my opinion, and still appreciate your Blackness. Now, true enough, Blackness doesn't make you hard, ratchet, or anything like that, but it also lets you know that people should not try you in the same manner that they try other people, which I feel like is better to deal with people on a more legal situation opposed to throwing hands, because that can get legal and that can get pricey either way. So I feel like you have to throw hands to be Black, but we can throw hands if provoked, and that just makes us Black, I feel. But I guess that's anybody. So anyway, Carlos King, who was on Love and Marriage Huntsville, Alabama, something like that. Love and Marriage Huntsville. He decided to bring Royce Reeve to the show, which was always a woman that I admired and I respected, even though I felt like she was a little out of place for the show. Even though I thought she was a beautiful woman, she had her own dynamic opposed to the other women, like Shaunie, Jennifer, Evelyn, like Tammy. Like, you all knew that they acted like they were high class. They were in this bracket that not everybody could attain to get to. And even Jackie, I love that for them, and I feel like that is why basketball wives took off. But the word on the street alleged that when Royce Reeve had her interviews with Carlos King, which you should definitely go see. I haven't finished watching all of it. From what I saw, was like, wow, I had no idea. And one thing that she had alluded to was the fact that the show may not have been put in fruition if it had not have been for her. And she was talking about how heavy she was in the scenes, going to the meetings, even when Shaunie wasn't around, to get the pilot for the show brought into life. And she also spoke about how she was quickly thrown under the bus, in her opinion, and she also was taken off the show. And then next thing you know, Shaunie has rights to the show, is executive producing the show, when in fact she wasn't allegedly in all the meetings that Royce was in. And I feel like that has a lot to do with status, because she was dating Shaquille O'Neal at the time. Shaunie's in the middle. You have Tammy on the left and Jennifer on the right. And so they already came in clicky. From day one, you knew they kind of rolled together. And I feel like it was like a trio of them trying to be the money makers, the star of the show, that they all work simultaneously to get this to this level, to where Royce was the afterthought, they were the end thought. But I don't really blame them, because if I had that power, success, prestige, I would want to be like, oh, I'm a star of a very famous TV show, or I'm a star of a show, regardless if I created that show, did the legwork for it or not. I'm still gonna give credit to whose credit's due. That's just me. But I can't really say what I would do if I was in that situation, because these are different powerful women. And she was married to Shaquille O'Neal, who was a famous basketball player. He was on the right, holding in the yellow. But I just love seeing these women being elegant, and sure enough, they gave tea. And Royce isn't putting a hand up in Tammy's face here. And that's the one who they said may have put the show to existence. And the way they treated her on the show was very disrespectful, very catty, very sad. It was like Mean Girls in real life. It was definitely giving bullying. And I like that she standed up and guarded her own, because what she didn't realize, like, it was like a team. It wasn't just one person trying to get off the show. Those were a sisterhood. That was a family. That was a group of women who had basketball husbands. But sure enough, Royce did too. She had a boyfriend or whatever, who was maybe even a husband, I can't remember which, was in the basketball team. But they all, I feel, made her feel unwelcome. And you're thinking like, oh, nobody likes me. 4 popular people that's on the show, none of them really rock with you, or they're making it feel like they feel uncomfortable around you, because she was a little kiddish at heart, which I'm still a big kid at heart as well. But as far as the show goes, a lot of people were not ready for that. And I feel like she has matured over the years. Like, even now, you're seeing her dancing and popping like a rock, but I'm the same way. I mean, I'm into it. And here Shaunie is winning. This is Shaunie, and she has her own show. And I feel like Royce did her dirty work, her light work for her. And it's crazy, like, not having to show up to a meeting and you get to be executive producer of a show. But then too, let's say that was her plan all along. Let's just say that she had planned on doing light work. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really say what their conversations were before that. But according to Royce, she pitched the idea to Shaunie, and it was like her idea. But cool, whatever is done is done. But I feel like Royce needs to at least be able to come back to the show, if anything, or even have some kind of executive producer rights, because she definitely got the people interested in taking on the pilot. So I feel like she's owed something, or she needs to get cut off some kind of check to the Basketball Wives franchise, or at least getting written out of saying she has ownership to it or bought out or something, because I feel like she played a bigger role in the Basketball Wives franchise than what's being put on. And I feel like it's not fair to be thrown under the bus and not heard of again just because you don't fit into a certain group of women or have a certain look that's sophisticated and classy like everybody else. Because she can definitely do that, but she, like I said, she's a free spirit. She's free at heart and living life. And a lot of people can't relate to that because they feel like they have to be a certain way to be shown in a certain light. And Royce is just breaking boundaries. She's not really like that. And I really love that about her. And lies come out about her family, her ex and stuff like that, that she's had to, deal with, put on the rug. And she also talked about that with Carlos, which I do have to go back and watch it, because I do, like I said, Royce from day one, she was like one of my favorite, because I could relate to Royce, to the fact that I saw a lot of myself in her, because she was like the eyeball in, but she had a good heart and she wanted to like everybody. She wanted to be accepted. She wanted to be, cool with the cool girls, but in reality, like everybody couldn't deal with her level, but but they didn't understand the power that she brought to the table. They looked as if, okay, if you're not putting your nose up to people or wearing a certain bag or something, that you can't be the it girl. But in fact, she is the it girl because she brought Basketball Wives to life. She went to those meetings. She did those hard conversations. She pitched those hard scenes that none of the other girls pitched. And I feel like she deserves her ball at the Basketball Wives franchise, if not the top ball. You don't have to be none of that to be a boss. You can be a boss being a free spirit. You can be a boss being ratchet. You can be a boss in your pajamas. There's no certain title of who can be a boss. It's just who about their life. And I love that Carlos King gave a voice to her, because I'm sure it was shocking to him to even find out that she played a bigger part in the basketball franchise that people actually thought. And he was willing to understand her and understand her story, because it wasn't like Royce was blasting, even though she did say she had mentioned it before. I never heard it. And it's so crazy because it was even hard for me to find pictures of her in basketball memes, because she was so kicked off the show so early on. And she also had mentioned the fact that Shaq had tried to come on to her, even though I can't really see that, because she was friends with Shaunie, and Shaunie was dating Shaq, and allegedly Shaq tried to seduce her. I would say it was somebody who was playing Shaq, and maybe that was the limelight of why she would fall off with Shaunie, like make it seem like Shaq was in her DMs and she come and tell you, and that's, if she don't tell you, that's gonna say, okay, she a good friend. I feel like that was a setup. I don't really feel like Shaq did it. If he said he didn't do it, I feel like he didn't do it. But if he said he did it, then he did it. But then too, I don't put nothing past women. I feel like they do make fake accounts, fake profiles, fake numbers, because I've seen it happen to me from a mean girl. Like, if somebody wants you out and making you feel bad for the situation, the whole time you think because her husband want to talk to you, you feeling bad and you feel like you don't deserve to be around her, when the whole fact you try to come to her as a woman, and the whole fact it could have been a fake number, it could have been a fake Shaq, and you throw yourself out the equation on your own. So I just feel like people should definitely go watch the episode. Definitely give Royce a break. Definitely give Royce a chance. And never forget about Royce. Follow her on social media. She's on IG, popping it, locking and dropping it. She's a dance coach and teacher. And she deserves to be executive writer, producer of a very credible, very credited show like The Basketball Wives. But she doesn't have any credits for a show she helped put into the making. And I just want to talk about it, because I knew it was something about these women. I couldn't put my finger on it exactly, but if that's what actually happened, it is kind of disgusting. It is a bit of disturbing that the people that I could look up to, idolize, want to be sort of like, could be mean girls in their grown age in real life. But then true, the world can be a very ruthless and mean place, and people will try to gut you like a fish if they can get away with it and you let them. And I'm sure Royce has definitely learned something from this and grown from this. But at the end of the day, I feel like if she wanted to take it to court, she probably could get a piece of that pie if she wanted to. I don't know. Y'all let me know down below. What do y'all think? So as always, per T Gang, let me know how you feel about how Royce was treated down below. Do you feel like she should get a bag from the Basketball Wives and helping boost the pilot? Do you feel like they tried to get rid of her, or she naturally fell off the show? Do you feel like it was scandalous stuff going on? Let's talk about it down below in the comment section.